Welcome everyone to this Privacy Rules Privacy Espresso. My name is Alessandro Di Mattia, Legal and Executive Officer at Privacy Rules. And today I'm joined by Jorge Allende from the law firm Allende and Garcia based in Peru. Jorge is partner and is also an expert in IP and privacy. This is why we are very pleased to have him with us today. And we are going to discuss a bit about the landscape and the framework that we have in Peru together with him to get updated on the Peruvian data privacy law. So Jorge, first of all, thanks a lot for being with us today and welcome to this Privacy Espresso.
No, thank you, Alessandro, and thank you, Andrea, for inviting me to this association and to this Privacy Espresso. I'm very happy to be here, ready to answer all the questions and to introduce all our audience in the privacy sector in Peru.
Perfect. So thanks a lot, and I will take the ball immediately, Jorge, with the first question. So you are an IP and privacy expert, so you have experience also at the international level. My first question would be, how would you describe the privacy landscape in Peru to foreign companies that wish to invest and work there?
Privacy laws in Peru are really new. They started. The law was enacted in 2011, but it got really enforced since 2015. So we have more or less 6 or 7 years of the law. The law is very similar to the GDPRs in Europe. So for foreign companies that comply with the GDPRs will comply with Peruvian law. More or less, you need to inform the data subject and obtain consent. And if you do those two requisites, you will be fine.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for this very quick introduction on this and going a bit more deeper, let's say, on the topic. You have this law coming from 2011, and we heard that in particular the Data Protection Authority in Peru has been focusing its surveillance activities on data controllers in particular. So
mainly the Data Privacy Authority in Peru have been doing some searches to see if the company have registered their databases before the private authority, because we need to, the companies that treat data need to register before the Data Privacy Authority. And if they do transfer flows, cross-border transfer flows, they need to communicate it to the data authority. And they have been doing these fiscalizations on the companies. And during the pandemic, that we were locked down and people could not go out, they started to check the websites, and they started to see if companies comply with the privacy rules and with the privacy notice and terms and conditions of the websites if they treat data. They have been doing that. The Peruvian Data Privacy Authority is very active in this kind of fiscalizations.
Okay, and speaking about this, what's your advice for companies, dealing in particular as data controllers with?
They have. It's very easy to register before the Data Privacy Authority. You need to fulfill a form and register. It's very quick and it's easy. So my advice is that they comply the law, register, and if they are going to treat data, they obtain the consent from the data subjects. That will be
okay.
That is
perfect.
Informed and consented. That's all.
Okay. That seems pretty good to hear for companies, meaning that there is a law, just stick with it, respect it.
It's not too difficult, and it's very very easy and simple.
Okay, and that's a question that just is popping up in my mind. But has there been any fine from the authority so far to companies?
Yes, a lot of companies are receiving fines because the thing is that the population in Peru, the companies were not educated about privacy.
Okay,
so companies were, what do I need to register my data? What I have to share with an authority this data, and people were not educated. And I believe that was a fault from the Data Privacy Authority, because before they started to do these fiscalizations and imposing sanctions, they should have been informing the population and educating the population that these kind of things are going to start. People didn't know about.
Yeah.
A lot of Peruvian companies didn't know about what I am receiving a fine of, I don't know, 10, 20. It's UIT. It's like a tax. How you say it in Spanish is Unidad Impositiva Tributaria. It's like a, and it's used to use for everything. It's like a, I don't know how to say it, but it's used to impose sanctions. So the maximum sanction is 100 UTs. It's UIT. That is more or less $120,000. That's the maximum sanction. And people didn't was not happy about this because they were receiving. I have one or two clients that receive like $40,000 of a sanction and say, what do I have to pay such amount of money because I didn't register my data base before the authority. I didn't know that I had to register.
Yeah.
So that was the problem, I believe.
Yeah. That's a quite common problem. The fact that sometimes DPAs are active without issuing guidelines before, and then they just stick with the regulation, and that makes things much more difficult for companies. In many cases, that's why normally there is also the need for legal experts that can explain you what to do when it's not explained. But of course,
and another thing is that the sanctions, the money they collect, is for them.
Yeah.
So they can improve their equipment and pay more money to employees. So more sanctions, more money for them. So they will be
there is some sort of conflict of interest here. I understand. And Jorge, speaking about these and what you foresee in the future, let's say, what do you envisage for the data privacy regulation in Peru? Some changes are going to happen?
I believe that company right now, there are companies at this moment are very aware of this new rule that has been issued. People is getting more and more knowledge about the data privacy rules. So they are starting to comply with this law, and I believe everything will go smooth. And it's good for data subjects that their rights are protected, right? So
yeah, there is an awareness raising all over Peru, I understand, on this topic, as in many other countries.
And more or less it's the same with IP. People were not educated about IP rights, and they started to buy counterfeit products because are cheaper and are more or less the same. I think that the key issue is to educate population about their rights. IP and data privacy rights, and that will be easier.
Yeah, and also I think it's important to see also data protection as an asset. Sometimes that's another switch that comes with companies after that realize
at the end it's an asset.
Yeah,
people at the end it's an asset because all this information is very, very, very valuable for the companies.
Perfect. So thanks a lot, Jorge, for this quick overview. We are running out of our time, so thanks for giving us
no problem at all.
This information on how things are going and moving forward in Peru. So thanks for your time, and looking forward to have you here for another Privacy Espresso to update us, on what's going to happen in the future.
Thank you, Alessandro. Whenever you want, we can talk and talk with our audience and be very happy to share of our new laws.
Yes. Thank you very much. And thanks also to all our listeners for being with us today. Looking forward to meet them next Thursday with the next Privacy Espresso. Bye, everyone. And bye, Jorge. Thanks again.
Bye. Thank you.